Good evening, fans, and welcome to tonight's first round CIF Southern Section 1997 taking on the visiting Paramount High School Pirates. This should be a very good game with a very good crowd tonight. Paramount's a nearby school. Let's go down to the field right now for the opening coin toss.
Number 11. I'll refer to you as the white team for the rest of the evening, or refer to you as the red team. You hear us say red. Red team, the white is the visitor, they're going to call the coin. We have a ceremonial coin there, that's the tail of a center, that's the head of a center. I'd like you to call heads or tails while it's in the air. If I drop it, we'll do it all over. Number 1, I want you to repeat whatever it is number 11 talks. All right? You ready, sir? Please call it. Tails. He has called tails. That looks like tails to me. Do you agree? Okay, you've won, sir. What would you like to do? I'd like to defer. Okay, the white team has won the toss. The white team will defer. Red team, it's your choice. Would you like to receive the ball? Yeah, you will. Okay, whites, you're going to kick. Which goal would you like to defend? Okay, sir, please put your back to that goal. Red, please put your backs over here. Captains, to start the game, we'll have the red team at this side of the field. They will receive. Captains, one last handshake. Please come in here, guys. One last time. Remember, fellas,
Okay, fans, there you see it. The Pirates of Paramount, the visiting team, won the opening coin toss. They elected to defer receiving the ball to the second half, so they'll be kicking off to our own Cougars to open this contest. We'll see how that strategy pays off as this game unfolds. Let me remind you that I'm Rufus Washington, being joined by Jason Miller tonight, and we're excited to bring you this first round game. Of course, the playoffs are real simple if you follow them. You win, you go on. You lose, you go home. And there you see the Paramount team there. The Pirates, of course, have a good program, and historically over the last couple of years, Jason, have had a very good program. I've lived in Paramount until just recently, and having followed this school, I can tell you that over the last 5 or 6 years, their season record typically runs 8-2, 9-1, and they play in a very competitive Moore League along with Compton Dominguez and a couple other schools. So the Olympians figured, fans, the Cougars figured to be in for a real battle tonight.
Got that right, Lucas. This is a Paramount team that lost by 2 points and lost at the horn to Dominguez, and Dominguez won the CIF Division II championship last year. So the Cougars, with a second-place seed, they play Paramount, who's a third-place seed. Just for a regular person who's looking at that, they may think the Cougars had a big advantage, but by far and away, Paramount is the best 3-seeded team in Division II.
Well, again, it's a playoff game, and there's certainly a playoff atmosphere here tonight at Halcap Field. As I said, the fans clearly understand what's at stake. Of course, Cougar fans have seen this situation quite a few times over the last couple of years. Making it to the playoffs is something that's rather routine and rather expected at this school. Right now, the challenge, of course, is to see how far they can take it into this 1997 playoff season. And, of course, nothing could be better, I would guess, Jason, and you haven't been a former player, than to open the playoff season at least at home on your own field in front of your fans, because you don't figure to have that kind of advantage as you advance through the playoffs.
You're right, Rufus. It means a lot to open up, especially as a second-place team, to open up at home. Last year, the Cougars had to go miles and miles away to play Ayala. This year, they're the favorites in a home game against Paramount.
Well, the Cougars have set up to receive the return. Back for them, of course, is Brandon Russell, number 8. Looks like he's joined by Prince Hampton there. Brandon Russell's number 1. And there you see the Cougars taking the opening kickoff out to the 21-yard line. That was number 4, I should have mentioned. I'm sorry, Jermaine Chapman on the return for the Cougars. So they set up from their own 21-yard line, 1st and 10.
The Cougars' offense has been very dangerous. Over the last 3 games, they're putting up 45 points a game as they just ran right by opponents.
And of course, their quarterback, Andre Cummins, Andre the Arm as he's known, drops back, quick pass out in the flat to number 2. Got some room down the left side. One man to beat. Finally is going to be dragged out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. On the reception, Keith Green.
That was the first play of the game last week against Lusinger. It went for about 15 yards. This time it goes for a big gainer. Keith Green has really established himself as one of the better players in this league throughout as the season is worn on. The Cougars are starting up early. This is exactly what they need to do.
And they say he went out of bounds right as he crossed the midfield stripe, so the Cougars set up shop at the 50-yard line. They keep it on the ground here. Number 18, Joe Etchemer with the carry. Joe picks up about 6 yards on the carry. And let me just say, fans, I'm glad to be back with you tonight after a brief bout with the flu. My quest of 6 consecutive game streak has been broken. I've got to start all over again. So this is game 1 for me. But we're here, we're enjoying it, and we're expecting an exciting game tonight. 2nd down and 4 now for the Cougars from the 44-yard line of the Pirates of Paramount. Pump fake there by Cummins, and he's going to be brought down on the blind side hit by number 89.
Well, we know the Cougars like to go with a lot of play action stuff. They went to it there. Cummings didn't find his receiver that he wanted right away, so he tried to take off, but good defense by Paramount prevents that.
That was Charlie Green for Paramount on the hit. Makes it a 3rd down and 5 now for the Cougars. They need to get inside the 40, down near the 39-yard line to pick up the 1st down. They keep it on the ground. Joe Etcham again, he's got the 1st down and then some, still running, breaking tackles left and right. Still breaking tackles on his feet. They don't bring him down until he gets down to the 18-yard line. Big run there for Joe Etchemer, Jason.
Beautiful crossbuck play by Joe Etchemer. We know Etchemer likes to run it on the sweeps, but you see right there, he went on a crossbuck. They faked the pitch to the ever-dangerous Brandy Russell, but Etchemer, who we know likes to take it on the sweeps, just takes it right up the middle. Big hold, big blocking by the Cougar offensive line. Take a look at the big hole there for Etchemer.
So it's a 1st down play for the Cougars from the 18-yard line of Paramount now. Etchemer with the carry again, picks up maybe 2 on the carry. On that play, they sent Jermaine Chapman in motion. Handoff to Etchemer, and he picks up a deuce on the play.
Really, the Cougars staying what they've done the second half of the season. They won their last 5 games. They're staying with Joe Etchemer and Keith Green, who's really carried them, along with Andre Cummins. The Cougars have so many weapons that it's almost impossible to prepare for each and every one of them.
And they showed Joe Etchemer with 350 yards on the season and 4 TDs. Brandon Russell now with the carry going around left side. Has some room. Touchdown!
Well, we know Brandy Russell from last year, second half of the season, really came on to establish himself as one of the best players in the area. Hasn't gotten the rock as much as he'd like to get it. I'd like to see him get the ball more also. This is big time. Brandy Russell's a big time player.
Brandon Russell with a 16-yard touchdown run for the Cougars gets them on the board first at the 9:23 mark of the 1st quarter. Cougars now setting up for the extra point attempt. Kick is up, and it's good. Delayed signal there by the officials, but the Cougars go on top by a score of 7-0 here in the 1st quarter.
This is just pure running back skills by Brandy Russell. Great block by Etchemer to allow Russell to spring to the outside. Then Russell, a natural-born running back, knows to cut it up inside. And Brandy Russell, take another look at the move. Nice pitch, nice block by Etchemer, and then he uses the speed and then cuts right here on a dime, Rufus. And Brandy Russell showing why he is the main man for the Cougars. He only has 448 yards rushing this season, but anyone who knows Cougar football knows that the backbone of this team is Brandy Russell.
So the Cougars jump on top early and get the game into the crowd. The band's in the crowd there. You see them there. A lot of enthusiasm. Like I say, this is playoff season, baby. You got to win if you want to go on here. And the Cougars have gotten off to a very good start tonight, very early here in the first quarter. That opening drive resulted in a touchdown after just 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Cougars lead by a score, 7-0, right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Here's the kickoff. Looks like it may sail out of bounds. No, it hits inbound. As I said, the return man for the Pirates runs into one of his own blockers, and they'll set up at about the 22-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10, our first opportunity tonight to see the Paramount Pirates go on offense.
Jose Munoz was in a bunch of trouble. First of all, the ball had a dead bounce. Then he got it, and the Cougars spilled him on the turf, Rufus. But the Cougar defense last week gave up a lot of rushing yards. We know that they could put heavy pressure on the quarterback. So what the Cougars want to do is get the Pirates into passing situations. But the Pirates also have an excellent quarterback in Terry Sulefe.
And, of course, their quarterback has been a bit banged up, but it looks like we see him in there tonight. They keep it on the ground with the handoff. Quick smash up the middle, takes it out near the 30-yard line. There was some question as to whether or not their quarterback, Jason Sulefe, would be ready for tonight's game. He's been banged up a little bit, along with their starting running back, Danny McMullen. Both have been out for the last couple of weeks, but it looks like they're in tonight and going to give it a go. On the quarterback keeper, Sulefe keeps it himself, turns it up, picks up the first down as it crosses the 35 out to about the 36 or so.
Actually, Paramount's quarterback, Sulefe, is very similar to the Hawthorne's quarterback, Andre Cummings. Very athletic. They both have big, strong arms. Take another look. They went to the option, and then he tried to cut it back a la Tommy Frazier. And the Paramount Pirates, they need to establish the running game to be in this game against the Cougars.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Pirates. They keep it on the ground, nothing doing as a host of Cougar tacklers get there, led by big number 55, William Vea.
He is a very good himself. Also, this whole Cougar defense, most of these players are actually all-league type players out there. So they've really played well in the last couple of weeks, Rufus. Kenny Finau, number 7, Corey Thedford, all those guys, and that man, William Vea.
Lola, no gain on a 2nd and 11. Drop back to pass. Looks like he's going to overthrow his receiver, and it does.
That play works, Rufus, when the option works. If you're not running the option well, you're not going to get, nobody's going to bite on that play action. Good coverage by Keith Green, running stride for stride with the receiver down the right side. Good time, though, for the quarterback, Terry Sulefe. They're going to try and throw off that Cougar pass rush by running some play action. Not a bad game plan by Paramount.
So, brings up a 3rd down now for the Pirates. Cougar defense looking good here in the early going. Chapman, the deep back. Their quarterback, Sulefe, drops back to pass. His receiver falls down. Now you got a flag on the play, and you got to hope that this isn't a roughing the passer against the Cougars. Number 44 for the Cougars was near where that flag went down. Chris Perry, I believe.
Oh, you can't have those in the playoffs. Yep, we're going to get roughing the passer, Rufus. You can't have that in the playoffs. That's inexcusable, actually. As they went to the screen, and they had a wide-open receiver. Danny McMullen was wide open in the screen area, but the Paramount team couldn't get him the ball because he fell down.
And as we look here down on the sideline, you see Coach Dan Robbins. Let's watch the replay again, fans, as Sulefe, their quarterback, drops back to pass.
You can only take one step.
He's clear. Stupid play, as you would see. I hate to say it about the but not very bright at all. Not Phi Beta Kappa, and a call against the Cougars has certainly hurt what had been a fine defensive stand here on the first drive. There you see the Cougars keeping it on the ground for very little gain there. And when I say that about Chris Perry, I certainly don't mean it about the young man's intelligence, but just his play that particular time. And Coach Dan Robbins let him know about it on the side, that he was not happy with what was a very obvious play that he should have pulled up on.
Interesting wrinkle by Paramount. They're going to the unbalanced formation. That last play, they went to the unbalanced line, which what unbalanced line means is that you load the line with the right side with linemen, and on the other side, you're just going to put a tight end and a guard. They go to it again, Rufus.
Second down play for them. Once again, they keep it on the ground. This time, very short gain. Pick up about 3. It's going to bring up a third, let's call it, boy, it's a long 6, maybe 7.
Unbalanced line, what it's supposed to give you, the advantage it's supposed to give you is give you an extra blocker, and if you're not prepared for it, you can get burnt on it. So we may see Paramount go down the field here on another 3rd and long. The quarterback has been hurt the last 3 weeks. The Cougars would like to put him out the game right now.
And his backfield consists of his 2 star backs, Cedric Bowen, number 37, number 44, Danny McMullen, who's been the other injured player for them. Sulafay drops back to pass, pulls it down himself, heads for the yard marker. This will depend upon the referee's spot. Looks close, though.
There's a big play, Rufus. They got outside of Kenny Finau. Cardinal error there by big number 7, letting him get outside. And then Sulafay, using his nifty legs, gets upfield and really wills himself to the first down. That's an excellent effort by the big quarterback. And you can tell he's the leader because he gives effort like that.
And there you saw number 45, Sioli Tuipulotu, closing in for the tackle, but not until after Sulafay had picked up the first down. So it's a 1st and 10 for the Pirates now in Cougar territory at the Cougar 39-yard line. This time Sulafay calls his own number, picks up a couple of yards. Remember, fans, this drive was kept alive courtesy of the personal foul call against Chris Perry on a 3rd and 10 play where, in fact, the pass was incomplete and it would have been punting.
Finau made that mistake. He went out. They put in Rodell Givens. Now they're putting Finau back in. So they probably chewed him out a little bit, but they put him back into the game as Givens comes off.
So it's a 2nd down and 8 now for the Pirates. Cougars defense still on the field. Once again, they keep it on the ground. Cougars defending the run fairly well right now, giving up yardage in small doses.
That was the first time that the Cougars came with the blitz. They like the blitz with J.R. Muwala, number 9, a junior linebacker who plays like he's a senior, Rufus. He has a nose for the football. Another 3rd down. Third down of the drive now for Paramount. They've converted on 2 of them.
3rd and 5 for the Pirates. They're at the Cougar 33-yard line. Need to get to the 28 to pick up the first down. Cougars right now leading by a score of 7-0, courtesy of 16-yard TD run by Brandy Russell. Once again, a bootleg drop back to pass. Pass is incomplete. So the Cougar defense holds there.
Charlie Green, the captain, dropped that one, Rufus. It should have been caught. Nice play, nice executed, but they're going to go for it, however, on 4th down. This is nicely executed. This quarterback looks impressive. Sulafay sets up nicely, follows through nicely, dropped nicely also.
So on the 4th down play, 4th and 5 from the 33. Pirates show that they're going to go for it. And they keep it on the ground. Nothing doing. Nothing doing. A bunch of Cougars in there, led by number 45, Sioli Tuipulotu. So with 3:58 left here in the first, the Cougars hold on downs after having given away a big first down on a personal foul. It'll be their ball, 1st and 10.
Well, Sioli Tuipulotu, he didn't play last week, Rufus, but this week he's really come to play. So I don't know about that call by Paramount. The lead dive on the option veer has not worked all night, and they went to it there.
So Andre Cummins brings his guys up to the line of scrimmage. Etchema back to block for him. He goes long, looks long. He's got him in. Jermaine Chapman, number 4. Reception is good down at the 26-yard line.
And you wonder why we call him Andre the Arm Cummings. Nice play by Chapman, but a beautiful pass by Cummings. He put it only where Chapman can get it. Chapman with a little Dion two-step there. He put it only where Chapman could get it. Take a look. Pump faked it to Kaven Jackson and came back our way as the safety was way over on the other side because of the pump fake, and Chapman made a nice adjustment to the ball, and the Cougar passing attack looks impressive.
And it's a 1st and 10 for the Cougars from the 27-yard line of Paramount. Chapman comes in motion to this side. They hand it off to Brandon Russell. He follows a Joe Etchema block up the right side, picks up maybe 3. And these teams, and when you get into the playoffs, Jason, as you know, you tend to play a lot of teams you never heard of before, and all you've got is a couple of weeks of film to look at that the school provides you. But in fact, Hawthorne and Paramount do have some playoff experience, having played each other a couple of 2 or 3 years ago at Paramount High in a game that the Pirates won over there. And this year, the Cougars have the luxury of playing them here at Hal Cap Field, and they're looking to return the favor of that playoff defeat from a couple of years ago. Cummins hands off to Etchema as he goes around the left. Etchema picks up a couple of good yards on the play. He's going to be short of the first down by about a deuce.
Etchema cut it up inside that play. I think he should have cut it outside. Nice block laid by Brandy Russell. He got through the line and cut it up inside. I think he should have cut it and headed towards the pylon. But the Cougars have so much talent here on offense. Paramount doesn't know what to cover. Are you going to cover the bomb to Chapman? Are you going to cover the scrambling of Cummings, the arm of Cummings? Russell? Pick your poison.
So once again, Cummins under center, backfield of Etchema and Brandy Russell. He gives it off to Brandon Russell, who goes over the right side this time, has enough for the first down.
The Cougar offense looked literally unstoppable. They were unstoppable for the last 3 weeks against West Torrance, Inglewood, and Lusinger. They look unstoppable now, and the kudos has to go out to that offensive line led by TNT Tony Terrell, Rufus.
Ball spotted at just inside the 15-yard line, which is a first down for the Cougars. Once again, a pitch. This time a pitch and a pass. Passer to number 3. Touchdown! That was a pitch that Keith Green would have passed back to the quarterback, Andre Cummins, and the Cougars convert for the touchdown.
Well, Keith Green is the second-team quarterback, so he can put the ball up in the air. Andre Cummings can also catch the ball because he's an all-around athlete. And the Cougars, when they finally dip into Dan Robbins' bag of tricks, if they dip in the bag of tricks, they're already unstoppable, Rufus. Is there anything past unstoppable? Etc. unstoppable, I guess.
Exactly. Extra point attempt is up, and it's good. So with 2 minutes left here in the first quarter, the Cougars go on top by a score of 14-0. Here you see the replay again. The option to the halfback, Green, and then Cummins goes out in the flat, makes the reception, jukes the first man, touchdown.
Well, last week they ran the pitch, but they threw it to the receiver to the left. So Paramount had the film, so the Cougars said, okay, we're going to throw it to the receiver to the left. We're going to throw a cross field to our quarterback. The Cougars simply out-coaching the Paramount Pirates coaching staff on that play. So they've out-coached them, they've outplayed them. What's next?
And that reception made over number 35, Jorge Vasquez, for the Pirates. So the Cougars kicking off yet again. Back to receive for the Pirates, number 12, Jose Munoz, and 37, Cedric Bowen. This goes to Munoz, number 12. He takes it at about the 16-yard line.
I don't know, excuse me, Rufus, but I don't know how he won that job, but he sure runs those kickoffs very slow. But the Cougars defense and kick return defense, the kickoff team, they've really been down there quickly on the two kickoffs two times they kicked it off, excuse me.
So the Cougars, with a minute 55 left here in the first quarter, lead by a score 14-0 over the Paramount Pirates right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 as we bring you first round coverage of the 1997 CIF Southern Section Division II playoffs.
Paramount pretty soon is going to have to go out of their game plan and put it up in the air.
Stu LaFay once again keeps it on the ground in number 44, Danny McMullen. McMullen with a short gain on the play.
It looks like the Cougars are ready for the veer play that Paramount probably has run all year long, and the Pirates are going to have to go away from that play one or two times because the Cougars are ready for it, and they have a very strong defense, some big guys up there too, but they can also run. And the Cougars, they're not playing any of that veer tonight.
They call it a 2nd and 5. It's a long 5. Goes at the 27-yard line. Once again, they get him in the backfield. In on the stop for the Cougars, number 7. And what a big play there by number 7 for the Cougars, Kenneth Fanua.
Another big play. Fanau's been playing awesome all year long, but the Cougars are used to the option. Heck, they play Peninsula, so when Paramount runs it, not as well as Peninsula, that's exactly what's going to happen. The Cougars are ready for this option.
Speaking of Peninsula, they opened their playoff run with a big victory over Ayala last night. And of course, don't need to tell you fans that Cable Channel 60 has covered all of these schools, everybody we've talked about here in the playoff. Here's a pass going downfield. And he got behind the defensive back, and this is going to be a touchdown for Paramount.
That may be the worst play by Chapman that I've seen since he's been playing here with Hawthorne. He got over in plenty of time, Rufus. He just misjudged it, and they dumped it right over his head. That is a cardinal mistake by Chapman. May have been going for the interception instead of breaking it up. But that is a big play against the Cougars right there. That puts Paramount right back in this game, and it should not have happened.
And you're exactly right, Jason. The Cougar defender allowed the receiver to get behind him on a bomb. And, I mean, you saw it unfold, and I couldn't believe when I saw the receiver go by him, but that spelled trouble. And, boy, Paramount, again, being a playoff-tested team that they are, took advantage of it. There's the kick. It's up, and it's good. So, Paramount gets back in this ball game with 14 seconds left here in the first quarter, courtesy of what I'm recording as a 77-yard TD pass. We'll get confirmation of that from our scorers.
Take another look. Cougars came with a blitz, but Chapman's there in time, just misjudged it. That is a bad play by Jermaine Chapman. Not an excellent play by the receiver at all. He just had to run straight. Chapman gave him 7 points right there.
And that 7 points makes it a 7-point ball game. And once again, you've got a ball game. But then again, what do you expect in playoff season? This indeed is the second season, fans. Cougar band responds by trying to get the crowd back into it. Momentarily deflated there. Here's a kickoff, going to be handled by Brandon Russell. These guys don't know any better than to kick to Russell. Russell turns it up, and he's going to be brought down short of the 20 at about the 18-yard line, where the Cougars will go on offense.
Hey, that was some good coverage by the Paramount kick team. Good coverage as Russell started up the middle. They broke the Cougar wall all the way down like it was the Berlin Wall and crushed Russell short of the 20. Cougars still in control of this game, Rufus. They gave up the big play. They gave up the big play last week. They gave up a kickoff return. They gave up a 50-yard touchdown run. So the Cougars are prone to give up the big play, and you can't do that in the playoffs. You'll be watching it right here with us on Channel 60.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Cougars now from their own 18-yard line. There you see the handoff to Etchemer. Etchemer looking for blocking around the right side. Finds some. Hurdles one man. Gets out near. Picks up the first down as I see the side judge come in at the 30-yard line.
We haven't called him Marcus Allen Jr. in a while because we haven't seen that sweep. This sweep is pretty, boy. It gets around the outside just like it's designed. Good block by Tui Pelotu, sets it up. Then Etchemer, high hurdles, gets the first down.
And with that play and that first down, that ends the first quarter of tonight's contest. Cougars leading by a score of 14-7 over the visiting Pirates of Paramount right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.
Paramount brought out a lot of people today, Rufus. They brought a lot of fans with them. For the Cougars, they're going to fill the stands when it's playoff time because they know that's money time. Two-time CIF champions. So Hawthorne wants their revenge also on Paramount, who beat them a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, in the first round of the playoffs.
Okay, 1st and 10 for the Cougars as we begin second quarter action.
First time we see Tui Pelotu in the backfield in 2 weeks, Rufus.
Etchemer gets the handoff, however, as he takes it across the 30 out to about the 33-yard line.
Tui Pelotu didn't even dress for last week's game. And a couple of weeks ago against Inglewood, he had a 60-yard punt return for a touchdown. Sioli Tui Pelotu, number 45 for the Cougars, is also a big play performer that they need to work him back into the offense.
2nd down and 8 for the Cougars. Just starting second quarter action. He's got 11:25 left here in the half. Cougars leading by a score of 14-7. Chapman comes in motion to this side. They keep it on the ground to Joe Etchemer. Joe Etchemer finds a hole. Joe Etchemer picks up a first down. First downs and Joe Etchemer, they seem to go together, Jason.
Hey, guy rips off 10 yards a game, 10 yards a carry, it seems like, every time he gets the ball. Joe Etchemer, look, he looks just like Marcus Allen. Look at him read the lead block and to slither his way outside, and you know the first man's not going to tackle him. They never do. Gets upfield for 4 or 5 extra yards, Rufus. The Cougar offense has so many different weapons, it's just a matter, can they make everyone happy?
And at the 42-yard line, it's a 1st and 10 for the Cougars now. This drive started at their own 18-yard line. That's Tui Pelotu with the carry. Very short gain on the play. Lucky if he got back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, he's going to be in Sapoga Seema's ear because Seema missed the block, and if he'd have made that block, Tui Pelotu was going to go a long way.
So it's a 2nd down and 10 for the Cougars now. Andre Cummins, the quarterback. Etchemer and Tui Pelotu in the field. They both drop back to pass. He passes over the middle, overthrows his intended receiver, Jermaine Chapman. Led him just a little too much on that play.
And when you're throwing the ball high over the middle, you're letting your receiver take a lot of blows. Your receiver's going to be he's going to be killed if you lead him like that over the middle high. He's going to open himself up and he's going to be vulnerable to a big hit. So Cummins going to have to keep the ball down. He hung it up a little bit last week. He's got to keep the ball down or his receivers are just going to get murdered.
3rd down play for the Cougars, now 3rd and a long 10. They need to get across midfield to pick up the first. Cummins drops back to pass, looks over the middle, throws an interception nearly, fortunately not. Pass hit number 35 right in the midst. That's Jorge Vasquez. We've called his name tonight, but he couldn't hold on to it.
Paramount, they say they're not going to give up the long ball anymore, Rufus. As we're going to take a look at the replay, Paramount rushes 4 and they drop 7 back into coverage. And right, oh my goodness, that's a bad play by Cummings to throw it right in the coverage.
Cougars punt. Good punt's going to take a good Cougar roll. Down inside the 15, near the 10. Looks like they're going to down it at about the 13-yard line. So an excellent punt there for the Cougars by Caven Jackson. And with 9:59 left here in the first half, Cougars lead by a score of 14-7 on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.
A problem with the Cougars that may begin to surface is that they have so many offensive weapons that they try and get it to everyone, and they try and please everyone, that they're going to get out of their game plan, and they're going to go 3 and out like that last possession.
So 1st and 10 for Paramount. Once again, you see them keeping it on the ground. Flag comes in from the backside. Looks like the preliminary indication is that it'll be holding against Paramount. Cougars may elect to decline this penalty if that's an option available to them. There you see the official call holding. They're going to mark off 10 here. It's going to make it a 1st and long. Yes, actually you're right, as they go half the distance on this one. So it'll be a 1st and 15 for the Pirates now. Pirates again keep it on the ground. Nothing doing on the ground. Big number 55 there for the Cougars, William Vea.
William Vea may be one of the best D linemen in the Bay League behind Scott Huber from Peninsula, but Paramount staying with the unbalanced formation. Pardon me, they actually just went double tight right there, but it was just the counter play, tried to pull the guard around. Penetration prevents the guard from getting upfield. Nice play by Tui Pelotu to make the first hit, and the Cougars are a quick team, so they'll swarm around the ball. That's not going to be a problem. The problem may come when you got to go man on man and straight at them.
So it's a 2nd and 15 now for the Pirates, pinned deep in their own territory. Solife drops back to pass, and he dishes it off, and they're going to call it incomplete. Boy, give a lot of credit there to Kenny Fanua, boy, who was barreling down on him, and you can see Sack coming.
Hey, he's the best D-end in the Bay League, Kenny Fanua right there. Unblocked, comes untouched, and highlight film, and you take a look, that should have been intentional grounding if I've ever seen it. Take another look. Let's see if there's a receiver in the area, as the quarterback, Sulifi, and he tried to shovel it to the fullback, but Kenny Finau makes him eat some dirt right there.
And the only reason he got that, because the fullback wasn't expecting it, was that he was in the area code, that is. Here's a screen pass out in the flat on the 3rd and long. Let's see if the Cougars can stop him, and they do.
That's about the 3rd screenplay that they've run today, Rufus. So Paramount they know that the Cougar defense is quick, so they're going to try and use that against the Cougars and make them look overzealous and try and throw screens and draw it off. But this is a nice play. This quarterback has a lot of nice skills. Fires it back the other way. They had the Cougars beat. This is not a very good play by the running back, McMullen.
And there you saw Tui Peloto along with Joe Etchema in on that tackle. It's a 4th and 5 and a punt. Back to receive for the Cougars, Jermaine Chapman, number 4, along with Cioli Tui Peloto over on the right side. This one comes to Chapman. Chapman takes it at his 42-yard line. Looking for some running room. Gets past the first man. Has a line down the sideline. Cuts it back in before he's finally pushed out of bounds deep in Pirate territory at the 30-yard line of the Pirates.
That's the best offensive play that the Cougars have in their playbook. It's the punt return, because Brandy Russell, Jermaine Chapman, and Cioli Tui Pelotu can all take it the distance at any time. I don't know if I've ever heard of 3 great punt returners on one team.
Nice 28-yard return there. And there you see that 3 on the helmet of the Cougars. And, of course, those of you who are Cougar faithful know that that's in memory of Herb Shedd, a star Cougar player from years gone by. We'll finish that story in just a minute. Brandon Russell goes over right side.
Yeah, Rufus, you talked about Herb Shedd, number 3, now deceased. They have on the middle of the field in the Cougar paw, and this is what they say when they break the huddle in the pregame. They go ET 3136 B Hollywood, all in memory of former Cougars that are now deceased.
And it's a 2nd down and 5 for the Cougars now from the 25-yard line. They keep it on the ground. Joe Etcham is hit just as he crosses the line of scrimmage, picks up maybe a yard on the play.
We're going to take a look at the paw, the big Cougar paw. You can't really see it there, but Hollywood is written in the palm of the paw, and ET is on the left toe, I guess, of the paw. And the Cougars, what the Cougars have going for them, Rufus, is a lot of leadership. And when you have stuff like that and remembering past players that are now deceased, it shows a lot of leadership and a lot of team unity, and that's one big factor in this ball club.
So it's a 3rd down and 4 for the Cougars now. They fake the handoff. They pass out in the flat, and it's incomplete. Looks like that pass was intended for Prince Hampton. Brings up a 4th down. Interesting call here for the Cougars.
After the nice first big throw, the bomb to Jermaine Chapman, Cummings has been kind of wild here in the second quarter, actually, is he tried to get it underneath the Akina, but once again, he's floating those things high, and Paramount's going to pick one off pretty soon. You can't float them high and hang them up in the air like that. You've got to get them down a little bit. That's probably what they'll talk about at the timeout right here.
And the indication is that you had a timeout. And now you see the official's still hesitating to call it a timeout. We're waiting to see here. So,
well, I guess it's a timeout, but it's not a timeout. Okay. Well, the Cougars going with it right here, Rufus, on 4th and 5. This is what caused the 4th and 5. Take a look. Cummings, he sets up nicely right there, but the ball's just floating on him. Maybe a little bit too excited going into the playoffs.
And you're right, Jason. It was Akina who was his intended receiver, although he overthrew him. And because number 8 was in the vicinity, Prince Hampton, led me to think the pass was intended for him. But you're right. Akina was the intended receiver on that play. Now you've got the timeout being taken by the Cougars.
Dan Robbins is not happy as comes out there and said, hey, we had about a minute to discuss this while the last official's timeout was going on. There's our Coach Robbins. Watch, he'll get those arms waving in the huddle momentarily, Rufus. With the Cougars, I thought they were going to go to the sweep, but they called the timeout right there. We'll never know if I'm right or not, I guess.
Well, the Cougars have 3 timeouts to use here in the second quarter with 6:27 left, and they lead by a score of 14-7, courtesy of 2 first-quarter touchdowns. In fact, all of our scoring took place in the first quarter. A total of 21 points put on the board combined between both teams.
Well, the winner of this one, Rufus, goes on to play the winner of Ayala and Little Rock. And if the Cougars wind up playing on the road next week, we'll follow them. So I guess we're rooting for Ayala because Little Rock, I believe, is like a 3-hour drive. And my car just got impounded last week, so I guess I'll be riding with you.
Yeah, it's a pretty good distance from here, and that's a good possibility. Of course, that's the Thanksgiving weekend that we would be bringing you coverage. And, of course, as Jason just said, you can depend upon the fact that if the Cougars win tonight, Channel 6 will follow them for the duration of the playoffs. Now you got a double reverse here with Chapman trying to go around right side to pick up the first down, and he's going to be short on the play by about a yard. So the Pirates will take over on downs.
Here's where the tricks kind of come back to haunt Dan Robbins. I bet you he wanted the running back to keep that. He wanted the running back. Russell has nothing but green ahead of him, but the reverse is called, so he had to give it up. Oh, man. Russell had the first down, but they had to give it up on the reverse. Good discipline by Paramount, and they get the ball back.
And you had a pitch and a reverse on that play rather than a double. Nonetheless, it's a first down for the Pirates. They keep it on the ground. That's number 33, Bowen.
No,
Excuse me, number 33
the quarterback
is
held on to that, Rufus.
Okay.
The quarterback held on. I guess it's a version of the option keep, but he really didn't belly all the way out. He just kind of took a step to the left and took off. So Paramount runs a little bit of an unorthodox veer option play.
Say 2nd down and 5 for Paramount now.
They tried it again.
And you got a flag on the play, and the indication by one of the Cougars is that this is going to go against the Pirates.
Wow, they've run 2 consecutive kind of quarterback sneaks. I don't know if you want to call it an option keep because he's really not following down the line, so it's 2 consecutive quarterback sneaks. So I've never really seen anything like that.
So it's a 2nd down and 9 now for the Pirates. And again, they keep it on the ground, and again, nothing doing. Cougar defenders get there, led by big number 64, Corey Thetford, along with Ken Fanua.
The Cougars have really done a good job on the running attack. Take another look. Look at swim move by Thetford and a nice one, but he also met and dumped on his head by about 3 or 4 more Cougars. But Thetford used a pretty nice swim move to get some penetration right there. Now the Cougars have him in a passing situation. Maybe we'll see the screen yet again by Paramount.
So a 3rd down and 8 now. Pirates out at about the 23-yard line, need to get to the 31, and now you've got a flag on the play. Looks like this is going to be delay a game against the Pirates. There you see the clock, 4:48 left here in the first half. Cougars at Hellcat Field leading by a score of 14-7. On the 3rd and 13 play, Sulafay drops back to pass, and it's incomplete. His pass intended for number 80, who's a very good receiver, Jesus Urzua.
Same play as the touchdown. They went to the double coverage. Rufus, it still hit him right in the chest. We're going to try and see what happened that play. Nice straight 5-step drop play by Sulafay, and it was intended for the receiver. Now, once again, Chapman looks like he's trying to come in front of the receiver. He needs to just play behind him. That's how a safety's supposed to play.
And Chapman and Tuipulotu back to receive. Tuipulotu makes the reception, cuts it up, evades the first couple of blockers, and brings it out to the Paramount 45-yard line, where it'll be 1st down and 10 for the Cougars. With 4:35 left here in the first half, they set up shop in Pirate territory.
The Cougars might right here. They should. If I was a Cougar coaching staff, I would go to the fake pitch that we saw last week and the slant play. I'd take a big chance to go deep right here. You have good field position. Why not take a shot at the whole enchilada?
There you see a shot of the Cougar faithful out here tonight, and our hats off to the Pirates, who brought a pretty good crowd over. Of course, it's a very short ride straight out the 105 to get over here. It takes about 15 minutes. They keep it on the ground. Etcheman picks up about 2 on the carry. Makes it a 2nd down and 8 for the Cougars now.
Cougars motioned everyone all over the place. Only got 2 yards out of that. I'd like to see Brandy Russell get the ball more, Rufus, running the football. He got it one play and ran for the touchdown. I like to see him get the ball more up in between the tackles. As we know, he's a clutch player in these playoffs, as he was clutch last year against Ayala.
Cummins brings him up the line. He has Russell and Etcheman in the backfield with him. Hands it off to Etcheman on the inside. No gain on the play, maybe a loss of 1.
5-man defensive line for the Pirates right there. They knew that thing was coming. Take a look at the defense. Everyone's in between the tackles, and they try and pull it, but no one's blocking backside. The Cougars, I don't know. I think they should give the ball to Brandy Russell just a bit more. Now they got themselves in a third and long situation.
So it's a 3rd down and 10 for the Cougars now. From the 45-yard line of Paramount. Deep drop by Cummins, evading receiver, and he's going to be sacked. This is a huge sack.
Oh, boy, Cummings. Oh, Andre, that was a bad play right there. The screen was taken away from him early. He wanted Etchema. It wasn't developed very well. Didn't get developed very well. He should have just threw it away and out of bounds right there. Take another look. He's looking for the screen, but Etchema's stuck. He needs to right there throw it away. But tries to make some more out of nothing, and he gets thrown down for a big loss, Rufus. Take another look. There's Etchema on the top of the screen. They take the screen away. Right now, he should just get rid of it and call it a day.
Consequently brings up a punting situation for which Paramount may get good field position out of this. Of course, they make a bad decision by letting the ball roll, and the Cougars are going to catch a huge break as this goes out of bounds inside the 20, down near the 15. Looks like they'll spot it officially at the 16. So a big break there for the Cougars because Paramount had to be figuring on getting good field position out of that punt after the huge sack.
That was about a 50-yard punt by Kevin Jackson, so that's a big play for KJ.
And that's what teamwork's all about. One mistake makes up, a good play makes up for a mistake there.
We're in that booth you're looking at right there, Rufus. Isn't that us up there?
We're there somewhere.
We're not the two white guys in the middle. Yeah, there we are with the hat.
And with 2:21 left here in the first half, Cougars leading by a score of 14-7, but the Pirates of Paramount have the ball. They keep it on the ground. They're running play going around left side. Somebody's got to bring him down soon. And they bring him down, but not until he reaches midfield.
Boy, the Cougars had a problem with this last week. They let a less talent Lusinger Olympian Ball Club stay in the ball game with them, and Lusinger almost, took the lead on them. Take another look. They went to the counter that last time, and the big man can rumble. Nice play by Russell to finally bring him down, but Paramount finally getting some good offensive performance out of their back.
And that was Danny McMullen, their feature back. Their quarterback, Sulafay, keeps it, crosses midfield, gets into Cougar territory at about the Cougar 49-yard line. He's got just under 2 minutes to try to even this game up at 14.
We have not seen the Paramount quarterback option at all yet. They run the option, but it's only been a one-man option. He's keeping it, carrying that thing like it's his child. But maybe he's trying to set up the flick off on the option.
This time a single back. That's Rosas, number 14, and Rosas with the carry picks up maybe a deuce on the play. It's going to make it a 3rd down and 5. And now we've got a stoppage at the clock. Of course, as we prepare for second half action, as Jason was just saying, we're watching what Paramount's doing, and one of the things that'll be interesting to note is if in fact their quarterback Sulafay does pitch the ball in the second half, which he's elected not to here in the first. With 1:14 left, we've got a score, 14-7, in favor of the Cougars, right now on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Big 3rd down play coming up here for Paramount. They keep it on the ground. They pick up the 1st down and then some. Question is, how much more? A whole lot more as they take it down to the 27-yard line of the Cougars.
2 big runs by Danny McMullen here late in the first half. They're going no huddle, Rufus. The Cougars have better collect themselves, as they're missing a lot of tackles, those linebackers and DBs.
Once again, to keep it on the ground, this McMullen, and he's going to be brought down. Good tackles there by 44 and 55 for the Cougars.
They're trying to run the cutback, Rufus, and they broke off of that 2 times. They tried to run the cutback right there, and it didn't work. What the running back does, he starts off like it's a dive off to the right, but plants his feet and cuts it back off to the left side.
That was Perry and Vea on the tackle for the Cougars. Pickup of maybe a yard on the play makes it a second down. They're showing it as 8 on the scoreboard. A long 8 it is.
The Cougar linebackers missed some tackles, and DBs missed some tackles last week against losing, and it hurt them. They can't miss tackles like that this week against Paramount or in the playoffs, or they'll be out. They got to start making those sure tackles and hold them on.
Well, as we told you at the top of the telecast, fans, this Paramount team is a playoff-tested team, and they also play in an extremely competitive league. And the benefit of that competition that they play year in and year out is starting to show here. As this team could have folded early on, and they've done nothing but fight back to make a game out of it. Cougar defense looking to make the stop here, though. Sulafate drops back to pass, goes deep, looking for his receiver, number 80, hits him. They say he went out of bounds before he crossed the goal line. This is going to be awfully close. He'll be down near the 2, maybe even the 1.
Jesus Urzue has had his way with the Cougar defensive backs. They've only thrown his way a few times, but he's made the most of his opportunities. Keith Green, the defensive back, on that play, got burnt off of that right side. Take another look. They try the fly pattern again. You can tell they practiced it a lot as they adjust right back to the ball.
Cougar defender first down. They spotted him officially at about the 5-yard line. They get inside the 5, down to about the 3-yard line on the carry. That's McMullen. So the Cougars back are against the wall right now. We've got 40 seconds left here in the first half, and another timeout taken on the field. Cougars lead by a score of 14-7. But the Pirates of Paramount are knocking on the door.
And I cannot believe it, because the Cougars are far superior in talent-wise to this Paramount ball club. But they made these mistakes in the beginning of the season. They kind of shot themselves in the foot, and you see it right here. They shot themselves in the foot against Peninsula and wound up getting blown out in the game that they actually should have won. They can't continue to shoot themselves. You can't say it enough. This is the playoffs. You got to play near-perfect football to move on. This is a Paramount team also that we said earlier only lost 15-13 to a Dominguez team that in the past 3 years has not let teams be close, stay in games with them. So these Paramount ball club, what is he taking? Is he arrested? I think that is that Hawthorne Jose, one of our cameramen that they're taking off.
There you saw the Cougar defensive coach out there giving instruction to his guys. Once again, it's on the ground. No indication yet from either the side judges or the back judge. So it's going to be a third down. They don't get in. Ball's right on the line of scrimmage. Quarterback keeper, he didn't get in on this one either.
Oh, big headlock by Vea to stop him short. He did a headlock, Rufus. He tried to suplex him backwards.
And this is a fourth and goal for Paramount now. They're going for it still, and you're going to have an official stoppage. You got the official stopping the play here. Had whistles before the ball was snapped.
Well, that would have been a touchdown, and Paramount is very upset. 8 seconds left in the half, Rufus. This is a big-time goal line stand by the Cougars, but it's fourth and goal. They got to do it one more play.
The Cougars here, and the big play on that one was the third and the foot, and they called the quarterback keeper. They stopped him there. Now they're calling offsides against the Cougars.
That helped the Cougars. The offsides actually helped the Cougars because he went in for the easy touchdown. Here we go, Rufus. Big fourth down and goal play. She's into it.
All right, now let's get our cameras back into it, downfield level. Fourth and goal for the Pirates. We'll watch it right here with you, fans. There you see ground level.
No.
It's going to be stopped. Let's see. Let's see what they call. No indication from the officials. Still no indication. They say no. No touchdown indication yet. Officials still there sorting it out. I'm not sure a call has been made.
Cougar ball,
and now it has.
Unbelievable goal line stand. puts it into halftime, Rufus. The Cougars should go into halftime feeling good about themselves on that last play. We're going to, excuse me, Rufus, but we're going to take another look at the replay. They try and go off of that left side. Good penetration, and Joe Etchema is the first man to get a hold of him, and the rest of the Cougars get a hold of him. He may have spun in on that play, but we're never going to know. Take another look, see if we see it. Ooh, that was a touchdown.
Well, that's close, but it doesn't look like the ball crossed the goal line. I think one of the other things the official is saying is that momentum was stopped there. Of course, you see the Cougar coaching staff there having, not the Cougars, but the Pirates having a few questions, and they're looking at where that line is on the field to see just what happened.
They have an argument, Rufus, but hey, there's no replay in high school football, so you know, it's over. We can't cry over spilled milk. Look again. It's going to be off of the left side. Etchema, I believe, or is it Kevin Jackson? It's going to be Etchema that's going to make the first hit right there. Now, is his forward progress stopped? No, it is not. He's leaning forward. It's still not stopped. He did not get in.
And it looks like the ball was short, and although it wasn't called, you can't talk about that, but there was movement on the right side of the Pirate offensive line as well. Nonetheless, that ends first quarter action here, fans, on Lawndale Community Cable Channel 60 as the Pirates trail by a score of 14-7 to our own Hawthorne Cougars here in the first round of the 1997 playoffs. We'll join you for the second half kickoff in a few moments. Okay, fans, we're back for second half action. A first half that saw the Cougars jump out to a 14-0 lead in the first quarter, courtesy of a 16-yard TD run by Brandon Russell and a 15-yard pass from Green to Cummins. Pirates return the favor on a 75-yard TD run, and now we've got the kickoff to start the second half. Cougars kicking to the Pirates, and that's Bowen, number 37, with the return. Give the Pirates pretty decent position to start the second half with. Of course, their first half ended on what was a sour note for them, an exciting note for the Cougar fans, as the Cougar defense made a goal line stand down there in the closing seconds of the first half. Paramount thought they got in, referees didn't agree, and that's where we ended, 14-7, and now we start second half action. First and 10 from the 30-yard line. And the Pirates, first of all, let's note right off the back, have made a change at quarterback. They brought in number 17, rather, at quarterback, and we'll set that for you in just a moment. That's big number 33, Bowen, with a 15-yard gain on that first play from scrimmage to open the second half. Now, their quarterback, the change that they've made, they brought in number 17. Well, Jason, go ahead and call a replay, will you?
Yes, I will. Nice counter play right off to the right side. Nice lead block up the hole, but the Cougar linebackers not near the play, and nice rumble job put on by Area.
And this is number 17, Jorge Villasenor, at quarterback for the Pirates now. Replacing Sulafay. This time it's McMullen with the carry, and he picks up maybe a yard on the play.
So they didn't run the counter much in the first half as far as pulling people, but they run it 2 times here early in the second. 14-7, Rufus, so Paramount's right in this thing. They need to keep the score low, and that's what they've done. The Cougars have got to start making some nice defensive play. Those linebackers have got to start to bottle up that option, bottle up that counter.
There you see once again they keep it on the ground. That's McMullen with the carry. And he's going to be short of the first down by about a yard. Make it 3rd and 1.
The Cougar defense was susceptible to the power right there, as they had a defensive lineman over the guard, over the center, and over the other guard. So the power play off tackle was wide open. Paramount had the right call, and they busted off for nice yardage. It gives them a 3rd and short.
And now you see their starting quarterback, Terry Sulafay, coming back in. And he's back under center under the 3rd and 1 play. Calls his own number, picks up the first down as he crosses the 45, gets down to about the 43 of the Cougars. Where to be 1st and 10 for the Pirates. We're here in the early in the third quarter. 10-20 left. Cougars leading by a score of 14-7.
The Cougar defense usually is a bit emotional. They're not that emotional out there right now. It's a little hop in the step of the Paramount players has gotten them 5 and 6 yards of carry. Cougars again with that defense.
There you saw Courtney Ketter on the stop that time for the Cougars, number 5. And there you saw the running back, number 37 for the Pirates, Bowen, look inside, then step outside on the play. Picked up good yardage.
He got himself outside as he made the move that juked Green, then put on the speed, but Tui Pelote makes a nice play. But here in the second half, Paramount's biting 4 and 5 yards of carry, so maybe they saw something with the Cougar defense and countered it.
Okay, it's a second down and 6, and they keep it on the ground. They're going to pick up a first down. Finally brought down by Tui Pelote, but not until he rumbles even deeper into Cougar territory.
So 5 and 6 now. There's a 10-yard gain. The Pirates just breaking them off big time, and the Cougar defense is starting to get a little bit tired. Take another look. The Cougars in that 5-3. You are very susceptible to the power and the counter. As you see, the Pirates are running it to death, and they're doing a good job. Cougars need to get out of that defense and stay back with their basic 4-3.
Ball is now spotted at the Cougar 25-yard line. Their quarterback calls his own number. He picks up a yard on the play. Brought down there by J.R. Moala on the stop for the Cougars.
The 5-3 the Cougars have started running here in the second half. It'll only work if those defensive linemen get the penetration and mess some things up. But right now, the Paramount offensive line is controlling things, and the Cougar defense, they all have their hands on their hips. They look very, very tired.
Second down and 8 for the Pirates now at the Cougar 23. Once again on the ground, this time stopped for very little gain. William Vale, one of the ones falling in on that tackle. Down underneath, you see big number 64, Corey Thefford, getting up off the ground.
Now the Cougars starting to play a little bit better against that power as they know it's coming now. Now you just got to wait for, as they put in the old quarterback, Terry Solife is back in the game, Rufus, the quarterback.
So it's a third down and 5 now. It's time to go the other direction. And they pick up the first down with Bowen making the carry as he gets down inside the 15.
Brandy Russell's going to have to do a better job against the outside run. We're going to take another look. Look at the running back get outside. This is Brandy Russell's territory. He's supposed to come up and make that play. He's being walled off by the tight end. So Paramount, they've gone to this double tight end set, and the Cougars do not know what to do against it as Paramount is just marching right up and down the field on it. Look at all the Cougars with their hands on their hips now, Rufus.
There you saw Chapman make the stop for the Cougars. Again, on the ground. This drive has been virtually exclusively on the ground. That time McMullen, number 44, with the carry. You got McMullen carrying it. And when he's not carrying it, here you see the replay again.
Look, there's no penetration, Rufus. Nobody's getting in the backfield in a big-time forearm. He gave J.R. Moala right in his chin like Evander Holyfield.
So right now the Cougar defense back on its heels a whole lot. They're down at the Cougar 10-yard line. Once again on the ground, touchdown.
That touchdown belongs to the offensive line for Paramount because they have just jammed the ball down the Cougar defensive throat. And the Cougars defense, they have a lot of pride, but their pride was hurt that drive as a big-time drive just peeled off by Paramount, and they can tie the game right here, Rufus. It's getting too late to start backpedaling here in the third quarter in the playoffs.
Extra point attempt is up, and it's no good. So the Cougars catch a bit of a break there as the extra point is no good. Here you see the replay again. That's McMullen, who just goes right up the gut on the Cougars for the touchdown.
No linebackers in sight. The Cougar linebackers are not very big. Some of them are running back. You have Brandy Russell, who's a running back. Tui Pelote, who's a running back. So these tackles are taking it right to the Cougar linebackers, and they're controlling it. But the missed extra point looms ahead because it's 14-13 now, and special teams are so important in the playoffs.
And the Cougars drop back to receive. Dropping back is number 1, Brandy Russell. As you watch a crowd shot there, a bit of the Cougar faithful having been taken out of the game, at least momentarily. It'll be up to the Cougar offense to get them back into this thing.
That's a 5.5-minute drive, Rufus. That is a pretty long drive in high school football to get on a team.
That's right. They received, opened the second half, and it scored at the 6:34 mark. There's Brandon Russell. He's going to be returning the kickoff. Russell heads up the middle, and he gets out to about the 23-yard line before he's brought down.
Where's that Cougar cockiness and attitude that we've seen so much this season? These boys believe that they can play, but Paramount right now taking it to them as they're within 1. Now I think the Cougars need to give it to their senior. They need to give it to Mr. Number 1, Brandy Russell. He's a senior. He's the leader. He's been there before. He needs the rock. They're bringing Tony Terrell off the field, Rufus. They're starting offensive lineman.
Here's a pitch back to Etchema, who ran so well in the first half. Etchema gets out to about the 27-yard line. And give him a gain of about 4 on the play, make it a 2nd down and 6 for the Cougars now.
The difference between Brandy Russell and Joe Etchema peels off 6 to 8 yards a carry. Russell will get stopped once in a while for 2, and then he'll get stopped at the line, but he'll break off a big one for you where Etchema really doesn't break off the long run.
So it's a 2nd down and 6 for the Cougars now. This is their first possession of the second half.
Counter.
And you got a fumble on the play, smartly recovered by Keith Green.
You see, you have so much talent on offense, Rufus, that you try and give everyone the ball and everyone a chance to do something. But as you see here, the Cougars now don't have a go-to guy, so on 2nd down, they have so many good players that they try and give it to one of them on the counter play, and it just simply doesn't work.
Well, I think if that's the case, pretty soon you're going to have to decide that there are 2 or 3 guys that we're going to win or lose this game with. And, of course, a couple of those 2 or 3 got to be Brandon Russell and Joe Etchema. It's in the time to make guys.
But Russell's not getting the carry, so he's not being allowed to be one of those guys. And I think Chapman also can be one of those guys. I actually think the 2 seniors, Jermaine Chapman and Brandy Russell, are the guys that should be carrying this team right now, but they're just not getting the opportunities to see the football.
And with 5:10 left, that was a procedure penalty against the Cougars. Backs them up 5 yards. Makes it a 3rd and 15 now. They need to get out to about the 33-yard line for the first down. One would think a passing situation here. Cummins drops back the pass, rolls right, needs to let it go. And Cummins is going to be snowed under by the Cougar defense. Second time we've seen Cummins elect to hold on to the ball and take a big loss, which results, one, it's a bad decision on his part, and it pins the Cougars this time deep in a hole.
Momentum lives in Paramount right now, as you see, you got to get rid of it. Cummins is trying to make something extra happen. He's trying to scramble around, and throw it downfield. He's got to get rid of that football. And you see what happens when he doesn't. The Cougars backed up deep, Rufus.
So Kaven Jackson kicks out of his own end zone. Ball takes a bit of a bounce. He's got some help here. And courtesy of the miscues by the return team for the Pirates, the Cougars are able to push him out at least to the 45-yard line. Unfortunately, it's the Cougar 45-yard line where they'll start at 1st and 10.
Jose Munoz that time, but yet again, we saw him run slow on the kick returns in the first half. He doesn't return this one at all. he just really hurt his team right there. He could have got him great field position, but they have to settle for good field position at the Cougar 45-yard line. The Cougar linebackers have got to get more physical, and those defensive linemen they have to start getting penetration right now.
Cougars show blitz. Do they come with it? They do. You got flags on the play. Let's see. This may be offsides against the Cougars. We'll wait for the official call, but obviously the coaching staff realizing that they need to make something happen. And they're going to call procedure against Paramount instead, so that's a big break for the Cougar defense.
The Cougars showed blitz on that last play, Rufus. They might have to do that to get some penetration, because when your defensive linemen aren't getting penetration, you have to start gambling. You have to start blitzing. You have to start doing that type of stuff. But that leaves you open for screens and long passes. So Paramount really has the Cougars where they want them.
So Sulafe, their quarterback, number 11, brings them up to the line of scrimmage. Cougars show blitz again, and once again you've got a flag on the play. And again, it's a procedure penalty against the Pirates. So that's 2 consecutive procedure penalties against Paramount. That's backed them up 10 yards, and it's still first down, except now it's first down and 20. So
I don't know if it's the center or the quarterback, but one of them seems like they don't know the snap count, and they're waiting for the other players on the offense to move. They need to call timeout if that's the problem. Now the Cougars have them where they want them, first down and 20.
So the indication of the blitz is unnerving the Pirates right now. Referee puts the ball into play at the 4:02 mark here in the third quarter. Cougars holding on to a tenuous 1-point lead by a score of 14-13. Paramount took the opening drive in the second half, marched the field, scored on a 10-yard run by McMullen. Missed the extra point, and that's where we stand right now, 14-13. And there you see Tui Peloto.
The trolley. Sioli Tui Peloto comes through where they made a hole. He shot through the hole just like he's taught at linebacker to do. I don't know how these Paramount players have been taught, but the quarterback, when he sees blitz so obvious like that, he needs to check off to a pop pass to the tight end right over the linebacker.
And it's a second down and 26 now as the Cougar defense has the Pirate offense in rewind. They're going backwards. All 3 plays in this drive have been for negative gain. And once again, ball's loose on the play. Cougars have it. Cougars have it. Let's see if the officials agree. No, they don't. But boy, it sure looked like the Cougars had it on that play. That ball popped loose.
Boy, J.R. Mawala has that offensive Paramount scared to death, because here's what's happening, Rufus. They lost 5 on the illegal procedure penalty, lost 5 on another illegal procedure penalty, then lost about 5 more on the backfield tackle by Tui Peloto, and they lose more on the fumble.
And now you've got a 3rd and 30. They keep it on the ground, and on the stop, William Vea. Big stop by Vea makes it a 4th and a country mile. So Paramount will be kicking. The Cougar defense stiffens. And they get the crowd back into this game on defense.
A good punt return right here may get the bounce back into the Cougar step as they look a little bit more confident as they get a nice defensive stop.
Back to receive for the Cougars, Jermaine Chapman and Tui Peloto. Looks like they're going to keep the Tui Peloto side, and they do. He handles it. He's got a block out here, looking for some room. Good coverage there by the Pirates, as he couldn't get past that first wave. If he had made that first wave, he had some real estate to work with, but the Cougars get it in excellent field position at their own 32-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10 for the Cougars with 1:55. Call it 1:56 left here in the third quarter, and the Cougars leading by a score of 14-13.
There's an old saying, Rufus. You dance with the girl who brought you, and the Cougars need to dance with the players that brought them. They need to get it into Russell And Chapman's hand, as long as that's your move.
Well, this time you got Chapman in the slot. They pass it over to number 12. You got a flag on the play. Number 12 went some running room. That's Caven Jackson. He has enough for a first down, but let's see what the flag's going to be about.
That may end up being about a 25-yard change right there. A needless clip right there. Needless. We're going to see who's the guilty party on that one. As Chapman, they try that quick hitch over to the left. There's a holding, and then he just pushed him in the back. Prince Hampton, not a very good play right there at all.
And a clip call against the Cougars. As Jason pointed out, that was Hampton on the clip.
So it's actually an 18-yard penalty because the clip occurred in the backfield a couple of yards. So the Cougars would have had a first down and 10 at the 42-yard line. Instead, my goodness, Rufus, I can't even count it. Why don't you bail me out here? First down and 25?
First and 25 from the 15-yard line. Cougars need to get out to the 43 for the first down.
Nobody went to stick Russell as he went in motion.
Cummins brings it down. Cummins has some running room. Not nearly enough for the first down, but picks up about 9 on the play.
He's very confident in his ability to run, Rufus, as you saw right there. And I think that's what he looks for a lot of the times when you see him hold the ball up. He looks to fake someone out, but it doesn't work very much. As you see right here, we've seen this a lot. He sees he doesn't have anyone open, and then he was hanging on to it, waiting to get sacked, but now he finally takes off there. So maybe the Cougars feel a renaissance here.
So in a very quick third quarter, as we roll down to 40 seconds left, it's a 2nd and 17 for the Cougars now. Cummins under center. Pirates fake blitz. They pick him up. It looks like a screen to Brandon Russell, and he's going to get back near the original line of scrimmage, about 2 yards short. So it's going to be a 3rd and 12 for the Cougars.
But see, that was that was a good call, but Paramount runs a zone defense, so they're not following you man to man. They're not going all the way to the other side of the field like you want them. Those corners are staying at home, and they've actually played a really good game against these talented receivers, Rufus. 12 more minutes left, maybe in the season for one of these teams.
And there you see the expiration of the third quarter. So after 3 quarters, the Cougars lead by a score of 14-13 right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 6. And we've got an exciting fourth quarter coming up for you fans.
That looks like Coach Greer on the sidelines for the Cougars.
Well, that's not Coach Greer, that's for sure.
Fourth quarter time, Rufus. I still think for the Cougars on offense, they need to get it into Chapman and Russell's hands. They're the playmakers. They need to see the ball.
Score 14-13 in favor of the Cougars. Of course, they shouldn't have to remind you fans that if the Cougars emerge victorious here tonight, Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 will follow their playoff run. So I want you to stay right here with us, fans, as we follow the Cougars through the 1997 Division II Southern Section playoffs.
Coach Robbins certainly thinks that his team can pull it out.
Well, they've got to come up with a 3rd and 12 play, as they're at their own 30-yard line. They've got to get out to the 42. Cummins dropping back to pass, pump fakes, has some time, pulls it down, sees a hole, he's going to run for it. Let's see, picks up the first down.
The Cougars keep trying to get it deep on that double zone that the Paramount team is playing. They're playing a 2-deep zone, but Andre Cummings sees he has no one open, and I think Cummings is more confident right now in his ability to run than his ability to pass. We're going to take a look. That pass was probably intended for Chapman. Cummings almost held on to it for too long right there, but the senior takes off with it and comes up with a big play.
Well, also a good read by Cummins as he saw they only rushed 4. The pump fake froze him for just a second, just long enough for him to decide to take it. Now you see Joe Etchemer running strong again as Joe picks up 7 yards on the play. Makes it a 3rd down and 3. And now we've got another momentum swing, Jason.
Yeah.
It looks like momentum has started to come back to the way of the Cougars here.
Mr. Moe looks like he lives in Hawthorne right now. But Paramount, they are not going to give the Cougars anything deep. They're playing good deep, too deep zone, and the Cougars are going to have to run the football, whether they like it or not, actually.
2nd down and 4 for the Cougars.
Give it to Russell, Rufus.
They're in Paramount territory. Etchemer trying to come around the side, picks up a block. They can't get around. Now you got a flag coming in on the play late.
Face mask. It's going to be a face mask, so Paramount's going to hand the Cougars 15 extra, and the crowd's going to love that one. Going to take another look. Look. First of all, I want you to look at number 4, Chapman. Look at Chapman's block right there. That's a good block. And there's the face mask. There's the face mask by Paramount's Joseph Aguiar. And they're going to give the Cougars 15 yards and an automatic first.
And now you got Jermaine Chapman trying to get the crowd into the game. Of course, the penalty more than anything else will get him into it as it takes it down to the Paramount 33-yard line, where it's now a 1st and 10 for the Cougars. Tui Peloto in the backfield. He gets the handoff. Tui Peloto rumbles for about 6 on the play.
Boy, the Cougars have so many different weapons they can give the ball to. Tui Peloto hasn't even carried it that much. But I think when you get at this point of the ball game, you need to point out who your man is and feed it to him. As you see, Tui Peloto's just going to get it on the trap. Actually should have cut it off right. That's where it was meant to go, but Tui Peloto cut it back up in the left side and was stopped.
And you've got 10 minutes left here in the contest now. Cougars right now in control of the ball. Joe Etchemer with a big run. You got a flag on the play. Joe Etchemer scores at 9:51, but there is a flag on the play, and let's see what the call is going to be. We see the referee coming in, holding against the Cougars.
Boy, Etchemer exploded through the hole right there. That's Marcus Allen Jr. But it's going to come back. The Cougars shoot themselves in the foot, big time.
So erased the touchdown run by Joe Etchemer, and the Cougars are going to get backed up on the play.
You cannot have touchdowns wiped off of the board, Rufus, or you're not going to be very successful playoff time. Take a look at Etchemer just exploding through the line, through a huge hole. Can't see the holding there because Etchemer does it himself.
And it wasn't a holding signal that the referee gave. We'll try to get an indication for you fans of what that call was. Here's a pitch back to Tui Peloto. He comes around right side. He's breaking tackles. He's spinning left and right. And he gets a lot of it back.
The trolley just exploded that play off the right side. So Eli Tui Peloto over the right side. Looks like they had him from the backside pursuit. Look, it looked like they had him with a backside pursuit, but Tui Peloto just exploded through a tackler and a nice spin like he puts B in John Madden football. Gets upfield. Nice play by the Cougars. But it's still 3rd down now, Rufus.
But 3rd and 3. 3rd and 3. Very doable, very makeable for the Cougars. And now you're going to have a brief stoppage in play.
All right, the Cougars have right now in the backfield on this 3rd and 3, Keith Green and Soeli Tui Peloto. So either Brandy Russell or Joe Etchemer not in the ball game. So I would think that the Cougars would put the ball up in the air right here off of maybe some play action, because actually the 2 best running backs are out of the football game. I can't see them running the ball right here.
Looks like the Cougars called for that ball with the extra air in it. Of course, we know they wouldn't do that. But it's a 3rd down and 3. 3rd down and 3 for the Cougars, fan. We got 9:08 left here. Big 3rd down play for the Cougars. Cummins has his back split. He gives it off to Tuipulotu. Tuipulotu digs, but he's going to be short of the first down. But this may be 4-down territory for the Cougars, Jason.
I hate to question the coaching calls right there, but Randy Russell and Joe Etcham are both not in the football game. I know Tuipulotu broke off some big ones, but right there, I'd want to have one of those two in the football game. So now they're stuck with a 4th down. And a design rollout run for the quarterback would probably be a really good call right about now.
And there you see the clock continue to roll at 8:20 left. 4th and 3. Cougars going for it.
No Etcham or no Russell.
Full backfield. And it's going to be awful close. Some thought is that he picked up the first down. It looks like from the position of the side judge, well, we're at an angle. Looks awfully doggone close. And they're going to have a measurement. As we watch the replay here, there you see Tuipulotu following this blocking around the right side, bumps into his lead block,
knee
number
hit.
31.
They got a good spot, Rufus. His knee is hit. Whether they get it or not, I think it was a bad call, and they got it.
And they give it to him by the length of the football. So it's a first down for the Cougars. They keep the drive alive here. With 8:14 left in the contest, fans. Cougars clinging to a 1-point lead as you watch the replay again.
Look, his knee's going to hit right there. That's where the ball should have been marked at, but they give him a good spot, actually, and the Cougars keep the drive alive.
Very alert observation by Jason Miller.
Thank you.
1st and 10. This time, Brandon Russell with the carry. Brandon Russell goes around right side, and he picks up about 6 on the play.
Give him the ball.
Let's set the table for you, fans. We're here in the 4th quarter, 7:45, clock running. They're going to call it a 2nd and 2. They're going to spot the ball officially at just outside the 15-yard line. There you see the senior Brandon Russell on your screen.
Give the senior the ball, Rufus. He carried, I think they forgot, he carried the Cougars on his back last season.
Out of the tee, they give it to the middle back, and they pick up the first down on the play.
That was Moala. He had the ghost tackle last week. So the Cougars going, we haven't seen them run this T formation much this year. They've run it some, but they're just taking it man-on-man, T formation, double tight end set. I'm stronger than you, and I'll pound the ball into your throat, down your throat, Rufus.
And that's why they're such a difficult team to prepare for in the playoffs. Well, now you have the official signaling for a timeout.
Dan Robbins didn't like it. He wanted to catch him off guard.
Now the ball's back in play. They give it to Russell as a deep man through, and he's hit at the line of scrimmage by number 44, Danny McMullen for the Pirates.
The reason why teams like to go to their double tight end set, Rufus, and the T formation is it doesn't show a strong side, so you can't overload on one side. But this is just bad blocking, or actually good defensive line play to stand up the Cougars offensive linemen to get in there.
And now you've got a timeout being taken by the Cougars. That's their first one of the second half. We've got 6:16 left here in the contest, fans. Cougars leading by a score of 14-13 as you watch the replay here.
Danny McMullen deserves the credit for it as he just got his face right in there and he pounced on him. Now Paramount wants to come up with a big defensive play here, Rufus, because even though the Cougars have marched on them, they want to get the ball back right here, right now. It's a 4th down play. So some long drives we've seen here in the second half as it's zooming by with 6:16 left, Rufus. Rufus, how about payback? You were at that game sitting out in the stands when it was like 34 degrees, if I remember.
Indeed it was. In fact, a sprinkle in the air that night. But the Cougars here looking to return the favor. As I say, they got knocked out. It was a first-round game for them a couple of years ago over at Paramount High. And they're looking to return the favor tonight. And right now, things are in their favor. Of course, they need a big 4th down conversion here. We still got 6:15. Call it 6:16 left in the contest.
We know Dan Robbins has a big playbook, but here's a tough play to call. What do you call? Oh, they're going with their swinging gate. Extra point offense, Rufus, swinging gate. The center is eligible, Rufus.
There you see, and there is the pitch. Not sure what type of defense Paramount was playing on that one.
Coach,
that was a gimme.
Coach Dan Robbins is the bravest soul in Howcat history, as he just calls a brilliant call. They go right out of the timeout to the outpost formation, or to the swinging gate, whatever you want to call it, and they go for the option. Looks like Paramount was not prepared for this play, and the Cougars keep the drive alive.
So, the play's good for a first down. Makes it a 1st and 10. Let's see where we've got it spotted at. It's spotted inside the 10, down near the 5.
No turnovers right here, Rufus.
Once again, this is number 7 with the carry. Switch there. That's Fanua with the carry for the Cougars. Stop for no gain on the play.
Again, nothing against Kenny Fanau or any other Cougar running backs, but I'd like to see Russell and Etchema get the ball in that T-River formation, some experienced players, because you can't turn the ball over. Fanau's got it. Fanau's got to run. He's ran the ball some this year, but you want to get it in the hands of the guys who's carried it the most. Right here, Moala hasn't carried it much either, and he's also in the backfield.
So it's a 2nd down goal to go out of the tee. And this time they run a counter. That's number 45, Tui Peloto with the carry.
I just can't understand, actually, why Russell and Etchema are not in the ball game, Lucas. Here they come. All right, take another look, and it's just inexperienced running right here. Tui Peloto's a big guy, so he doesn't know better, actually, to cut it outside. But right now, the Cougars have their dangerous guys. They have Kevin Jackson just came back in, Joe Etchema, Brandy Russell, and Jermaine Chapman. The fabulous 4 for Hawthorne.
Yeah, but it's a 3rd down and 9 play that the Cougars need to convert on.
And they took too much time. Oh, my goodness.
And you're going to have a delay of game call against the Cougars here.
Hey, clock's ticking down, 4:27 left. I believe the Cougars have had it this whole quarter, Rufus. You keep those stats.
We'll get that for you in just a second, fans, but right now, on the 3rd and 14, here's a drop back. They go for the corner, and it's incomplete.
Actually, Cummings should have put a little bit more air on that. That's a fade pattern. It worked last week against Lusinger, but Paramount's no Lusinger. They have some experienced cornerbacks in, and the Cougars are going to have to kick a field goal. So, actually, Paramount holds.
They holds, and you're exactly right.
Gate, Rufus.
That the Cougars did have possession the whole 4th quarter, and let's see. They're going to go to the well again on the same play. Let's see what happens this time.
Throw it.
He's got to make a decision. Got to make a decision. Got to make a decision. Still looking. Finally lets it go. Overthrows his intended receiver. That pass intended for Courtney Ketter.
So that was an exciting drive. The Cougars punched away 4 and 5 yards of carry. Hey, the guy, Joe Etchema, scored a 25-yard touchdown that was called back, and after that, I don't even think he got the ball again. So the Cougars have been giving it to these big guys who've been punching off 4 and 5 yards of carry, but they couldn't punch it in. That's when I think the Swift guys would have worked. Right here on the swinging gate, the Cougars tried to throw the ball. Right here, what they're actually looking at is the center, because sometimes people don't think the center is eligible, but he is on this play. The problem is you got to throw it in the end zone. It's not a 4 or 5 yard completion play.
So the Cougars put it in the hands of their defense. And on a dive play, very short gain for the Pirates. And we're approaching the 4-minute mark here.
This is Jerry West time, Rufus. Clutch. They called him Mr. Clutch. And Cougar defense has to come up clutch and come up big time, with Paramount taking a lot of time to shuffle the plays in and out.
So it's a 2nd down and 7 for the Pirates now. Clock under, 4 minutes left. Cougar defense trying to hold on to this 1-point lead. Once again, ball's on the ground by Paramount. They're out near a 1st down, and you've got a late flag on the play.
Oh, my goodness. If you are the Cougars, you do not want a late hit right here. First of all, that stops the clock. until the chains are set. Oh boy, you do not want a late hit against the Cougars. And it's a late hit against Hawthorne. That is unbelievable. You cannot give this team 15 yards when they're driving for the winning score. This is unbelievable. And I believe a player has been ejected. Did he throw his thumb back? When the official throws that thumb back like you're out, that means one player's been ejected. And I believe a Cougar may have been ejected.
Well, the 15-yard personal foul penalty takes the ball out to the Paramount 39-yard line, where it's going to be 1st and 10 for them now with 3:24 left. Cougar defense trying to step in here, and they do pretty good.
Really conservative play calling here late in the ball game for Paramount. If they don't convert here on this drive, these fans will be second-guessing them.
We're rolling down to the 3-minute mark, fans. 2nd down and 9 for the Pirates. They call it 10 officially.
All they need is a field goal, but you got to move the ball.
And a field goal is a distant thought right now, as they've got a lot of real estate to pick up before they get there. They give it to Bowen, the big back, and he takes it out across the 45-yard line to about the 47, where it's going to be a 3rd down and 3.
2.5 left. Each play is taking a minute long to get off for Paramount, and that's not what they wanted, but it's a 3rd down now. They have to think about getting the 1st down.
Obviously 4-down territory for Paramount as well. This time they come with a slot receiver to keep it on the ground. They pick up the 1st down as they move into Cougar territory at the Cougar 46-yard line.
Paramount lost last week to Dominguez, Rufus. They lost last week on a field goal with no time left. The score was 15-13. So on a field goal with no time left, right now they're trying to leave no time left for the Cougars as they're just winding the clock. And look at the run by the big man.
Danny McMullen, number 44, the running back for the Pirates. Once again, they keep it on the ground. We're under 2 minutes left. It's getting nervous time, folks. Cougars looking for a big defensive stop, and as Jason said, a part of the strategy, obviously on Paramount's side, is to take as much time as possible. They realize they only need a field goal to win. One, they're trying to get in position for that, but at the same time, they don't want to leave any time on this clock for the Cougars.
Clock's ticking away, Rufus. Now time is a factor with a minute and a half left.
Sulafay calls his own number. He's going to be stopped. I think you're going to see a timeout soon. And you do. There's the indication. Paramount takes a timeout with 1:22 left in the contest.
The Cougars are right not to blitz, Rufus, because you don't want to get burnt for a big play right here. This is a very dangerous situation for Hawthorne. They do not want to get burnt on the blitz. Take another look at that last play. They went to the option. They know Sulafay's not pitching it. Tui Peloto is a good linebacker, so he knows it, and he makes a nice play. Take another look. Sulafay's looking down all the way, not even thinking about where the running back is to pitch it off. And Paramount, they've milked the clock, and they've been conservative, but they find themselves in a 3rd and 8, and they need to convert.
And there you saw big number 64 help to string that play out. 64, of course, being Corey Thetford. And now you've got a 3rd down and 9 with a minute 22 left. Ball spotted at the 44-yard line. They need to get down to the 35 to pick up the 1st down.
You think we might see that screen coming anytime soon, Rufus?
It's a possibility. Of course, on the 2nd down play, obvious 4-down territory for Paramount now. They drop back, they show pass, they get it away, and a lot of things happen, but the most important thing is that it came up incomplete. That pass intended for Danny McMullen, number 44.
I would like to take credit for calling that, Rufus, because the only pass play they've been consistent with is the bomb and the screen pass. They tried to run the screen here. And look at Tui Peloto. He knows it's coming. The only problem is the bus doesn't intercept it. Here it is right here, Rufus, 4th and 8. They're playing Traveler. They're playing Victory right now.
Well,
and you being a USC fan, I'm sure that you have a big smile on your face.
that's right, boy. You'll be hearing this song a lot tomorrow.
Here it is, the play of the day, Rufus.
So, season hangs in the balance for both teams on this play. They drop back the pass. Here's the pass. He lets it go. Receiver comes back. Interception by Jermaine Chapman. And, boy, that's going to do it. That should do it, rather. If Chapman doesn't do anything, it gives us away. Now you got flags all over the field. You got a fumble on the play, but it's recovered by the Cougars.
Chapman, you made the interception. Go down on a knee and take the victory and go home. There's Jermaine Chapman. And if you remember, Jermaine Chapman, he got beat on the bomb in the first quarter. He wins the game with 55 seconds left in the fourth. This place is going nuts, Rufus.
Got a lot of things to be sorted out by the officials. Let's watch the replay once again. There you see Sulafay, their quarterback, under pursuit by Tulifoto. Drops back the pass.
Tulifoto is his name, but it's like big play to make the pressure. They go to the same play that they scored off of. Chapman got beat in the first quarter. He wins it for the Cougars. But go ahead and take a look, Rufus. If Chapman needs to just put it on a knee here, take his victory, and sip some, not champagne, but some apple cider, but he decides to be Dion and almost turns it over. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. You can't do it. Yeah. It's a double foul, but it all came after the interception. So with 55 seconds left, Paramount, turn in your uniform. It's over. It is over.
Well, Cougars are going to take possession of the ball, but after all the calls are sorted out, the Cougars are going to be deep in their own territory with possession.
They just need to put it, victory formation, Rufus, is a big V, and put it on a knee.
At the 9-yard line. We don't know for sure, but I believe Paramount has 2 timeouts left here. And, of course, you're going to see them swarming to the football on these next couple of downs.
The Cougar defense got bullied around in the third quarter, but they make a big defensive stand in the fourth to move on. I'm telling you now, this game is over. O-V-E-R. Just like the USC-UCLA game tomorrow. The Bruins have already won it, I believe. This gives us time, Rufus, to think about our Londale Cable Usage Corporation player of the game. My vote right now go to Mr. Chapman. Jermaine Chapman gave up the big play in the first quarter, comes back to win it in the fourth. Congratulations to Big Jermaine. That shows that his head has been in it. He did not get down by giving up the interception. By giving up the long touchdown pass. Who's your vote?
Well, Jermaine certainly comes back to redeem himself, as you say, after having given up the big first quarter touchdown, the 75-yard touchdown bomb. But I tell you, right now, that interception looms as a game-saving play for the Cougars right now. And if it holds up, it will advance them to the second round.
They're doing the bankhead bounce on the Cougar bench. Keith Green giving the fans a lot to cheer about on the sideline.
Of course, these guys need to realize, in the words of the great Yogi, it ain't over till it's over.
I'm saying it is over in the words of the great Jason.
Well, if we can ever get a play snapped here.
I believe they called another timeout.
Now, it looks like you've got an injured, I'm not sure if that's an injured Pirate on the field.
A play hasn't been ran. How can he be injured? Feelings hurt, maybe. Well, this is just delaying the inevitable, Rufus. Ready to go home.
You've got Coach Dan Robbins out on the field, obviously not in agreement with some call that's been made by the officials. You see the referee talking to him. And while we've got a stoppage in action, let's take a break right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Okay, we're back to action here, the final 55 seconds. And now we've got another flag on the play. This is going to be delay a game, I would think, against the Cougars. No, you've got a call going against Paramount.
They just lined up in the neutral zone that play, and Paramount is delaying the inevitable. Well, it looks like we might be here at Howcap, Rufus. We may be in Little Rock next week, or we may be at Ayala. We were at Ayala last year, Rufus, if you remember that one.
Well, let us hope we're at Hellcap this week, next week.
I heard USC is going to be at Honolulu instead of the Rose Bowl.
First down and 5 now for the Cougars. Whole lot of time and no play, and there you see a stop there by the defense.
Just put it on.
Going to make it a second down and 5, and the Pirates use one of their remaining timeouts.
Goodness, boy, the Cougars make us hold our breath. It's turning blue right now, Rufus. This is the second to last timeout for the Paramount Pirates.
And they've got to hold on to the ball as well. This is no time for a turnover. This is
So Paramount coming in as a third-place team. Like we said, now if they lose this game, Rufus, they would have lost their last 2 games by a total of 3 points. So what a heartbreak season for this ball club. Nothing to be ashamed of. Howcap is not an easy place to come and win a football game. As they're just partying on the bench. Keith Green shaking his groove thing, Rufus.
Well, Steve needs to be concerned about the action on the field. This could be a very painful lesson should the unfortunate happen here. Of course, we aren't rooting for that. We're hoping that the Cougars keep a hold of this thing.
Hold it.
Once again, ball nearly stripped that time. And it looks like they're going to be short of the first down.
You can't hold that thing like you're holding marbles. You got to tuck it in. If you know you're going to hold on to it, Rufus, you've got to tuck it in. Take another look. Andre Cummings fakes it. You're not trying to fool anybody. Tuck that thing in. Don't carry it like that.
And we've received indication from our excellent statistician here at Howcap Field, Dale, that that's the last time out for the Pirates.
So the Pirates, actually, if the Cougars don't get a first down here, the Pirates will get it back.
And of course,
there's the Coach Robbins watch, Rufus. He gets those arms waving. We know that.
And of course, this timeout gives us a chance to tell you that this is a Londell Cable Channel 60 broadcast. Give our thanks to everybody working on the crew tonight, including Ali Santana, Robert Medina, Jose Bravo, Billy Barnes, Tom Strickfadden, the technical director, and the producer and the director, Michael Larson. And you've got a 3rd and 1 play, a huge play coming here for the Paramount defense as well as for the Cougar offense. They're crouched in. They keep it on the ground. Nothing doing. Let's see if... No, looks like they stopped them short, Jason. You got a 4th down coming up.
It matters when they start the play clock. They started it right at 30 seconds, so we might not see more than a punt return coming for Paramount. If I'm the Cougars,
continues to run.
From the
17
Cougars,
seconds left.
I tell the official to wait till the play clock gets down to 1 second and we want a timeout.
Well, I think you're going to have to lay a game before then. You're down to 5 seconds left, and now you've got it stopped. Now you've got to delay a game against the Cougars with 4 seconds left.
See, the Cougars should have just called timeout. Now they have to back up 5 more yards, and if this thing gets blocked, this is high school football, Rufus. This is not the pros. A block punt is not anything out of the ordinary.
And if we can swing our camera down to the Cougar huddle, boy, you will see a very, very demonstrative Coach Dan Robbins now.
He gets those arms waving, Rufus. I love it. Of course, I'm not a Cougar player getting chewed out, though.
And obviously what he's telling us, guys, is that this thing isn't over by a long shot.
You do not run around. You got to kick it because you don't know how long you're going to run around. And the clock stops on a change of possession. The Cougars are dancing with the devil. Remember the old thing? My dad told me after prom night, you dance with the devil, you got to wake up with the chickens. I had to go to school the next day.
And one of the things that the Cougars can't do here is that they can't drop back into their end zone because of safety. Would give
them the win.
Would give them the win. So they've got to play this thing fairly honestly here.
Biggest play of the year is a punt for the Cougars.
Of course, Paramount's going to send everybody on this play. Boy, this is the play of the year for the Cougars. Here's the kick. It's going to be a short kick. Paramount isn't going to touch this. I can't understand why the guy touched it for Paramount.
But they did not start the clock. Well, they only, I guess, 2 seconds went off the clock.
No, he's got to touch it.
Paramount's going to have a chance to win this ball game, Rufus. Unbelievable. They got their kicker on the field. They're going for the kick, and they're pounding on the press box. I'm headed for cover.
Yeah. This is
Thank God we're not a losing.
This is going to be an awfully long, folks. This is for the game. Let's set the table right now. It's 14-13.
George Villa Sr.
This is for the ball game. Okay.
George Villa Sr. is going to kick it. 44 yards, Rufus.
This is the ball game, fans. The kicker, Paramount, is set.
They lost last week on a field goal by Dominguez with no time left. My goodness. When that ball is snapped, it was 6 seconds left on the clock. So when that ball is snapped, the clock should have started. That play didn't take 2 seconds. They're going to say, wind it down to 2 seconds. It doesn't matter. This is the last play of the game. Hold on to your hat, Rufus.
This will be the last play, and again, it's a question of whether or not. And now we have an indication that the clock is being changed to 2 seconds left on the clock.
44 yards, Rufus.
Here's the field goal attempt. The kick is up, and it's low enough. It's no good.
Unbelievable. The Cougars are going crazy, and they win.
Yeah. Just barely. And that's the final, fans. The Hawthorne Cougars win by a score of 14-13 as the Paramount field goal attempt at the end is wide right. This game went down to the very last second. The Cougars escaped with a hard-fought victory. They scored all 14 of their points in the first quarter, and they made the 14 points stand up for a 14-13 win over a Paramount Pirate football team in what was an excellent first-round game, Jason.
4 yards away from out of the playoffs were the Cougars. Unbelievable. This is the most unbelievable ending of the season for the Cougars. Rufus, we're going to take another look at the replay. It was a bad snap. It was a bad snap. The holder, the quarterback, did a terrific job. Look, he fumbles around with the snap. Did a great job.
But he got the kick up. The kick is up, and it's just short.
Unbelievable.
Just short, because it was right on the line. It was a yard short, though. And that's the difference. 1 yard is a difference in the season for the Paramount Pirates. It's also a difference in the season for the Cougars of Hawthorne. And boy, you got to tip your hat off to what an exciting ball game as the Cougars escape with a 14-13 victory over the visiting Pirates of Paramount. A tough loss for them, but a great win for the Cougar faithful as they continue their march in the 1997 CIF Division II playoffs with a 14-13 victory over this Pirate team, boy. Great game, excitement to the very end, Jason.
Unbelievable. The Cougars cannot flirt with a team like that. They can't stay with a team that they're more talented. But this may be the only one that, this may be the only game left that the Cougars may have been the more superior talented team. They'll play the winner of Ayala and Little Rock, and we'll be right there.
And as Jason said, fans, Count on seeing us next week, wherever the Cougars' second-round playoff game is, as Channel 60 follows their march through the playoffs. For the entire crew at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60, including Jason Miller, I'm Rufus Washington, once again saying congratulations to the Cougars on their first-round victory over the Paramount Pirates by a score 14-13 right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. We'll see you next week.